Okay, so that was season 2, and now I'm gonna go over season 3 of this.
Okay, so Thanos uses Pythor's info on the Overlord to locate Palpatine, and they go after him. They find Palpatine, and they fight him. Palpatine kills one of the Thanoses. It was the Endgame Thanos. And Mace Windu goes up to Palpatine and ignites his lightsaber. Palpatine says, "It's treason then," and opens his lightsaber. Mace Windu and Palpatine lightsaber fight. Palpatine calls his new army of Sith guards to keep the Avengers busy. Then Palpatine stabs Mace Windu. And when Mace Windu's body drops to the ground, his Force Ghost is standing behind him. And Palpatine uses Force Lightning on him, but it doesn't work. Then Thanos comes from the side and tackles Palpatine. Then Thanos and Palpatine lightsaber fight. The lightsaber Thanos is using is a combination of all the ones he has had. Then Thanos beats Palpatine and gives him a taste of his own medicine by force choking him, and he dies. Then all the good guys search the area and kill any Palpatine clones. They find out that Palpatine was destroying all the portals leading back to the Jedi, and had destroyed some. And the best ones left were ones that led to right before Order 66 and Palpatine's throne room. They go into a portal that led back to the Jedi that Palpatine was guarding. Thanos goes in and he falls. He gets up and everything is blurry, and he hears lightsabers clashing. Then he sees Palpatine and Mace Windu fighting when they did in Revenge of the Sith. Anakin comes. Then Thanos stops himself from cutting Mace Windu's hand this time. Anakin pushes Thanos to the side and lightsaber fights Mace Windu. Then Thanos and Palpatine fight. Thanos is able to hit Palpatine in the throat, which causes him to lose his voice temporarily. Then Palpatine calls for a ship. He and Anakin escape. Thanos goes to the Jedi Temple. He tells the Jedi about Order 66. They all go towards the portal to go into the future, but Palpatine was following, because he too wanted to go through the portal. They go into the portal, and Palpatine is a little behind, so he throws his lightsaber to the portal and causes it to break, causing everything within a 3 million mile radius of the portal to be sucked into the future. Because most became a faint version of a Force Ghost after being surrounded by so many Jedi and Force activity and hearing so much about Jedi knowledge, almost everyone alive during the time of the Clone Wars is back now, along with all the planets, through that portal. But only people who are currently alive as some version of Force Ghosts or clone are back from the Clone Wars. This is also what caused the merge in Ninjago Dragon's Rising to happen. Thanos and the Avengers know this just happened, but everyone else who came back from the past doesn't. They just felt a large shake. The good guys hadn't finished killing all the Palpatine clones, but after this happened, they were all killed anyway. The good guys group up and go to the old planets and the Jedi Temple to rebuild. Jay is missing though. Thanos knows Palpatine can't execute Order 66 because he lost his voice, and now has every single clone ordered to be secure until they have found a way to safely remove the chip from everyone. Rex and some of the clones are back too, because they had become a faint version of Force Ghosts after saving people during the Clone Wars. Palpatine now has more time with Anakin, and gives him new black robes, and one of his red lightsabers, since Anakin's lightsaber was lost in all this. He sends Anakin to Mustafar. Obi-Wan follows Padme again to Mustafar, and Anakin and Obi-Wan fight. This time, Anakin is much darker, and it even shows some of the deleted scenes of their fight. Thanos notices Obi-Wan is missing, and he knows what is about to happen. So he hurries and goes to Mustafar to save Anakin. But when he makes it there, he realizes he went to the Mustafar that just got sucked into the future, and that Anakin and Obi-Wan had gone to the original one by accident. Thanos hurries to go to the other one. Obi-Wan and Anakin are at the high ground. Anakin jumps. Thanos didn't make it in time, so he throws his lightsaber, and it cuts Anakin mid-jump, and he rolls down the hill. Thanos is somewhat relieved because at least now Anakin doesn't think Obi-Wan did this to him. Anakin lightly catches on fire in only some places, but then Thanos stops Obi-Wan from leaving, and together they take Anakin back to the Jedi. Anakin turned good again because Obi-Wan didn't leave him, and he is healed by Jedi ways, so he has his skin back to normal. And they recover and sew back his limbs on time. And Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia and survives. They realize that any mistakes made in time travel to the past doesn't permanently affect the future. Also, that time machines don't really take you back to the time, but make a copy of the items that were there at the time you want to travel to, which you can take out, like taking out the Infinity Stones in Endgame. This does affect the present, though. When the present is affected by time travel, they figured out that there was a magic temple somewhere where they could reset the effects of time travel while still having achieved what they needed to from the time travel. This temple was called the Clock Tower. It was extremely hard to find out about and actually find and get into. It had a series of tests that only a good person can pass. Okay, so that was Star Wars Season 3. And so now, after all of these shows, we get to this here, and now I'm gonna go over this. Okay, so it begins like this. Anakin is training, and he knows all 7 forms of lightsaber fighting, and wears light-colored clothes now. He beats Mace Windu, and tied with Obi-Wan and Yoda in lightsaber combat. Leia and Luke are older and are training in lightsaber combat. They find out that the new Inquisitors are back, because although they're in prison right now, they were alive when everything was sucked through the portal to the Clone Wars. It shows a scene where Cad Bane beat 5 guys at the same time in a drawing fight. Anakin, Obi-Wan, Thanos, Ahsoka, Rex, and Luke all go on a mission to capture Cad Bane. He tries to escape and then fights Luke, and Luke accidentally lands a killing blow. They search for Anakin's lost right hand and find it. It was frozen and can be sewed back on. Anakin now has all 4 limbs back. They find out that in the past, when Anakin was already born on Earth as Walter, he had a brother. But when they were both young, the Jedi came to Earth and took Anakin's brother because he was Force sensitive. They weren't able to sense that Anakin was Force sensitive because Palpatine and Plagueis clouded his abilities on Earth, so no one would ever know what they did. The brother that they took was Ben. The Jedi later changed his name to Obi-Wan. Anakin and Obi-Wan are brothers. And the brother that Obi-Wan was talking about in the Kenobi series was Anakin. The Jedi took Obi-Wan when Anakin was still very young, and Obi-Wan was the older brother. Their father had told Qui-Gon not to tell them because he didn't want them to search for their father and wanted them to focus on their training to face evil. Qui-Gon also didn't tell Anakin and Obi-Wan that they were brothers because then it would have become public news and Palpatine would know that someone knew about his plan of taking Anakin from Earth. So Qui-Gon recorded a secret message and it has been made public today. They show Anakin the message and then he sits there motionless and speechless with his eyes wide and mouth slightly open. And then he suddenly gets up and slowly moves towards the door. It looks like he's walking in low gravity or limping. And as he leaves the house, he walks outside, blocking the sun with his arm, and he looks forward and his eyes completely widen and jaw completely drops. It's Obi-Wan walking towards him, 20 feet away, showing the same expression with a strong hint of joy in his cheeks. And they slightly exhale as they run towards each other and hug each other. They stand there for a while in silence. After a while, they search for their third brother, who was the neighbor's engineer friend, and they learned he went missing from their household at only around 12 years old. And after a long while, they find him too. The good guys have sat without a major enemy for a long time, and this has given them time to sort out what their order stands for. They know of Palpatine still being alive, and they suspect he'll try to destroy them again. and they decide that they need to be ready this time, not like how they were during the Clone Wars. They take Qui-Gon and Ahsoka for consideration, and they understand that the Jedi Order has prioritized other matters over what was right at times. From comparing the Clone Wars to the Empire era, confidence over the Sith, fearful haste in making decisions, appointing clone children as soldiers, Windu striking Palpatine, all compared to Obi-Wan's death, Yoda's death, Luke's refusal to kill Vader, Vader's sacrifice. They've realized that losing the battle is better than losing oneself. In all these cases, they've lost themselves and gained an advantage in the battle, but then lost the battle. When they lost the battle to save themselves, they both saved themselves and won the battle. They don't completely abolish the old Jedi ways, but they adjust them with the truth. They can get married now, and they fix every problem that they've ever had. And now they just focus on spreading the goodness and the good news of Jesus Christ. Not with arrogance, not with fear, not with rush, but with love, peace, and focus.
They are free from their guilt of the past. They know that there will be future fights, and they focus on going into these fights without jeopardizing themselves, and focusing on keeping themselves good. Although they know that there will be fights in the future, they have trust in God that all these fights will be won, and that maybe even something good can come from them. They know that they can win because they know that even if they lose the fight, they win. Like Obi-Wan said, "You can kill me, but you will never destroy me." They will fight the coming battles with faith and peace, and they will focus just as much on the spiritual battle within themselves throughout life. Wu and Garmadon go on a vacation, quote-unquote, where they will enhance their training and learn how to fight together even more. The good guys are all spread across the galaxy, repairing all the damage caused by Palpatine cults, like the crow-faced Force people. And Cad Bane had communications with a partner that could potentially lead to who hired them. Info from Cad Bane's gadgets had been discovered in the Jedi Temple that reveal this, and they show coordinates to a location called Jailbreak City. After research, the Jedi have discovered that the city is home of some of the deadliest bounty hunters in the galaxy. They suspect that the person Cad Bane was working for likely contacted him from here. They send Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, Anakin, Mace Windu, and Mando to the city, disguised. They enter on a pirate ship, and they sail it into a cave and swim the rest of the way to the island of Jailbreak. Not far from there, they spot a gas station, and they stop for drinks and then joke about this mission by saying they could have just said they didn't want to see us anymore. And then it cuts to Wu and Garmadon training and balancing on cliffs with their fingers, jumping from stumbling rock tower to rock tower and practicing fighting in sync with their backs towards each other. The sun is getting set, the sun is setting, and they climb a steep, winding hill up to a shack while talking along the way. They make it to the shack as it's nighttime and enter to be greeted by Rey, Kai's father, and handing them beverages. Footage cuts to Mace Windu driving a pickup truck they borrowed from the gas station, and everyone is sitting in the back or in the trunk, and they decide not to use the Force as much as they can on this mission to not attract attention, because the person who was working with Cad Bane would leave this island if he knew there were Force users. They drive past a jewelry store with its alarms going off, and Mace abruptly stops the car. They discuss on whether they should hunt Cad Bane's hirer or stop the robbery, so they split up, and Bo-Katan and Mando try to stop the robbery. Then as Mace drives the truck, he is hit by a sniper. They spotted him on the top of the jewelry store, and he must have been guarding the robbery. Bo-Katan jetpacks up to him, and Mace tries to control the vehicle and then drives it into a ditch with the train tracks. Then as Mace drives, the truck is hit by a sniper. They spotted him at the top of the jewelry store, and he must have been guarding the robbery. Bo-Katan jetpacks up to him, and Mace tries to control the vehicle, but then he can't, and then he drives it into a ditch with train tracks. All of a sudden, they hear the train, and they exit the car. The train comes, but Ahsoka was on the other side of the train tracks that Mace and Anakin were on. So the train passes and they don't see her anymore, and after it finishes, she's not there. Anakin spots her on top of the train fighting someone. He force jumps and holds that person, and it's a bounty hunter robbing a train. They see that he has a walkie-talkie, and then they duck as the train enters a tunnel, and they hold on through the wind, and once it leaves the tunnel, they get up. They climb into a hatch in a red cart on the train, and there are more bounty hunters. They dodge their bullets and block some as they storm in and neutralize each one of them. They take one walkie-talkie they had and listen to it. They also take a criminal key card from them, as it can be used in the future. The train slowly comes to a stop and they exit at the station. They realize they're back near the gas station. They track the signal that's coming to the walkie-talkie, and it leads them to a police station. They spy and learn that the police are all corrupt and secretly criminals of their own, and lock up anyone who's onto them in prison. Anakin and Ahsoka search the city and find a gun store. They acquire smoke grenades and they go back to the police station. They throw a grenade and then run towards it after it explodes so the cops won't see them. Then they take out some cops from behind, and Anakin is backed into a corner, throws a grenade, bouncing it off the wall and hitting the window next to them, which breaks it, and both him and Ahsoka escape. Anakin steals one of the police cars and also a key card and drives off, but they are chased. Wu and Garmadon and Rey talk about Palpatine and how he could return someday, and that he's probably building something right now. Wu and Garmadon decide to stay with Rey for the coming future unless they are called for help. Mace Windu helps stop the jewelry store sniper. Then he enters the jewelry store, climbing up the stairs, cutting every corner while fighting bounty hunters. He peeks the corners to get them to shoot until their guns are low on ammo, and then he comes up through the floor using his lightsaber. He sees one escaping using a zipline, and he breaks through the window and force jumps up to the zipline, pulling Mando up with him with the Force. They follow on the zipline and into a criminal base that it goes to. They fight there, and Mando is shot first, but walks up to the bounty hunter and disarms him. Bo-Katan makes her way here, and they find a map of bases. Other than this one, there's another criminal base inside of a volcano. As Anakin drives away from the police, they are shot at and crashed into by another cop car, and they swerve around. They're crashed into by other cop cars, and they swerve around a mountain and escape the sight of the cops. Then as they turn the corner, out of nowhere, another cop car shows up and hits them in a head-on collision. And then Anakin and Ahsoka split up. Anakin is surrounded so that Ahsoka can run away. From her far position, she distracts the cops by attacking them. And Anakin takes this chance to run. Then he changes his mind and he steals one of the cop cars and drives it swinging in circles around the cops and Ahsoka, nearing Ahsoka every time until she jumps onto the car, and then they drive towards the group of cops and they jump out of the way, and Anakin drives into all of their cars, damaging them, and Anakin and Ahsoka quickly swap for an undamaged car while the cops are still on the floor, and they drive away. Mace, Bo-Katan, and Mando hear alarms go off in the base, and the alarms say that there is a Force user in the city. They take the cars the criminals used to rob the jewelry store and drive towards the volcano base, because whoever was here is probably going to escape now. They are intercepted by a band of criminals and surrounded in a town. Snipers wait, and Mace calls Anakin and tells him to go to the volcano base. Mace exits the vehicle and tells the bounty hunters that he knows about the police that are here, and he confirms that these bounty hunters and the cops are against each other. He convinces them of not killing them because this is their only chance of defeating the cops. The bounty hunters agree, but call people to guard the volcano base because Mace was going towards it. Mace can't let the call go through, so they decide to use Force powers, and everyone fires their guns at Mace, Bo-Katan, and Mando fight, and they beat everyone. Anakin drives towards the base, but then the vehicle announces that it's going to self-destruct. And he drives it into the water nearby an oil rig, and there is one jet ski nearby, and it can only hold one person if it's going to go as fast as possible. So Ahsoka will take it and go to the volcano base. Before that, she drives Anakin with the jet ski to the oil rig because the only way in is through boat, because you'll be hit by turrets if you swim or fly. Then she goes to the volcano base as Anakin climbs up to find another boat. And Ahsoka doesn't run into anyone guarding the volcano base because she goes by water and not by land. They don't have people guarding the water because May stopped the call from fully going through. Ahsoka gets into the volcano base, which is under lockdown, so she enters through the hole of the volcano and uses her lightsabers to cut through the glass from the hole into the base. She contacts Mace Windu and says she can find a way to open a secret door for them to get in. Mace Windu's group drives by a glider shop, and they argue over whether they'll need them or not. It's 2 against 1, but Mace decides that they'll take them anyway since he's driving, and they strap them on to the back of the now janky and damaged car. Anakin searches the oil rig, but then goes too far inside of it and triggers an alarm that sets the oil rig to explode. He needs to find a boat to get out fast. Wu senses something and decides to use his spirit smoke. It reveals that Anakin is in danger. Immediately he calls Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan takes off for the island. He flies in towards the oil rig, and he jumps out of his jet, causing the jet to crash into the water and be shot by the oil rig turrets. And Obi-Wan glides down, and as Obi-Wan glides down, he grabs Anakin with him and falls into the water across the border of the turrets. The turrets didn't shoot him because they were too busy focused on Obi-Wan's jet. They swim as far as they can, and the oil rig explodes, pushing them in a wave onto the shore. Mace Windu arrives at the volcano base and drives in through a secret tunnel that Ahsoka opened. As they drive in through, wondering if the car will fit, they hear a shredding noise as the car gets stuck in the tunnel. It was Mace Windu's gliders, and they laugh about it being such a great idea, quote unquote. They enter and reunite with Ahsoka as they walk through a wide hallway. They find the bounty hunter who Cad Bane works with. He runs and enters a jet. He drives it down the hallway and towards them. They run as the jet speeds up behind them. They make it to the end of the hallway outside and jump as the jet comes flying out right after, barely missing them. As they view the jet, it is stopped midair, and Anakin and Obi-Wan are standing on the bridge behind them, pulling the jet back with the Force. The bounty hunter leaves the jet and glides away with the glider, and Mace says that he told them that they were useful, and then he Force jumps and catches the bounty hunter in midair. The bounty hunter launches a bomb from his tablet, and the whole city is going to explode in 5 minutes. They capture him and they keep him with them from now on, and the bounty hunters left from the fight with Mace Windu go in one direction and try to find Mace Windu, and the cops left by Ahsoka and Anakin do the same thing. And then they meet each other on the same road. They see the damage done to each other and know that they have a common enemy. They team up to destroy the good guys, and the good guys can't escape the island before the bomb goes off, so they decide to defuse it. They enter the army base and go underground to disarm the bomb, but the army of bounty hunters, both criminal and law enforcement, have arrived. They set the base on lockdown, and it generates a shield. And it generates shields that won't hold for long. The only way to disarm the bomb is to shut down the base, but that will shut down the shield. But they do it anyway. Mace Windu makes it from behind tower to tower, using the Force to crush the guns fired by the bounty hunters one at a time. He Force jumps to disorient them on his location. Bo-Katan and Mando secretly leave and go to the jailbreak prison by boat. There, she lets out all the prisoners, and they run to attack the bounty hunters. The good guys take this time to defeat and capture most bounty hunters, although some escape. As a result of the army base being shut down for too long, the city has gone into full lockdown, and there is zero power or communications. It's becoming nighttime. During the night, when there's no brightness in the city, the wild wolves come out of the caves of this island, and the characters all get into a tank from the base. They hear thudding against the tank throughout the night, and they survive many nights and go on expeditions to get supplies. They compete with the bounty hunters who are doing the same, and resources are running thin. The good guys try not to take too much resources as they don't want to kill the bounty hunters. They find out that a strong beast is chained underground in the city, and that it's going to be released if power is out, because it isn't getting automatically induced with sleep. sleeping pills. Eventually, resources become very thin and won't last more than a couple days. But clones finally show up to the island after not hearing a word from the people here, and Mace and the others wave for the ship to see them as they fly over. All the bounty hunters come out of hiding in the bushes and behind hills and attack the ship. The good guys try to get all the prisoners on the ships as more ships are coming. As the bounty hunters run towards them and reach them, the beast breaks out of the ground and separates the two groups. Then it attacks Mace's group with one tentacle, and then the bounty hunters group with another tentacle. And then both Anakin and Obi-Wan use the Force to stop one tentacle. Mace hurries to get the people onto the ships, and as they can't hold the beast much longer. The bounty hunters see that the Jedi saved them and decide not to kill them. The sun is setting and the wolves are coming out again, and they tell the bounty hunters to also get onto the ships, since they can't live on this island for long anyways. Everyone is on a ship, and the last ship, which was Mace's, takes off. Anakin and Obi-Wan release the beast and climb over it and jump into Mace's ship that is flying away. They fly home. A bounty hunter mentions a glider and how it's important for situations like this, and he tells it to Mace Windu, who looks at the others. The bounty hunter who was working for Cad Bane is getting a call, and the Jedi answer it. It is a message from another criminal about the person who hired Cad Bane and his partner. That person is dead, killed by a competing crime empire, which is known as the Shadow Collective. Maul leads this crime empire, but the Jedi did not know that Maul was being held captive and tortured by Palpatine, while Palpatine controlled the Shadow Collective. Because this message was answered by the Jedi, Palpatine viewed this message's recordings and saw that the Jedi were involved with this, and he heard that the Jedi heard that the Shadow Collective did this, and he knows that they think Maul is behind all this. So he takes this chance to prepare to destroy them while they aren't focused on him coming. Palpatine lets Maul free, only to distract the Jedi and take their attention off of him by making them think that Maul was free and was behind this, causing them to go after Maul. And Maul runs.